have the whole force for his range. Okay. But my punch is
coming up.
Funga everywhere.
Welcome to Sportswave Insight and Mindset Moment. This is a session where we get to talk to our coaches on their mindset and perspective towards coaching. Today we are glad to have George Gichuki, who has been Kenya boxing national coach for the last 11 years. Currently he's working with the African Boxing Council middleweight champion Rayton Okwiri. We would like just to understand the challenges and his perspective in terms of coaching. Welcome, Mr. George.
Thank you, Mr. Gora. Yeah. I'm happy to be here with you today. Because coaching is something that should be shared, so that you can leave legacy or bring up somebody without even knowing. So I'm happy to be with you today, this morning. Yeah.
Welcome, George. I know you've been a coach for a very long time. Would you just briefly explain to us or to me what's the difference in terms of handling an amateur boxer and a professional boxer?
Basically, let's say boxing is just the same. Technique is just the same. But where it becomes a bit different is with the amateur, there are rules that guide amateur boxing, and also there is rules for professional boxing.
Okay.
And but as far as the aspect of technique is concerned, it's more or less the same. It's more or less the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Beside technique, I know in amateur we do 3 rounds of 3 minutes each, and the ladies 2 minutes of 3 rounds each. In terms of coaching, how does that affect your plan or your program while working with an athlete who's just come from amateur to professional?
Yeah, mostly each athlete, each boxer is different from each other. There are those you need to do a lot of motivation. They are good, but they need a lot of motivation. Okay. There are others you need it's just a small switch, and they are well motivated.
Okay.
And also understanding the aspect of the sport is different individually. Like because sometimes you'll find that a boxer here can have a very good straight punching hand, and another one a very good left hook hand. So they all take it in a very different manner. And let's say as a coach, you need to understand this. That when you can call yourself a coach. Because if you don't understand that, then you'll miss your athletes. And each athlete has a better part and different from the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some of the challenges you're facing while training some of these athletes, I know it's not easy. As you've mentioned, people are different, people are wired differently. So as a coach, as a person, what are some of the common challenges that you face while working out with athletes for both genders?
Generally, what bring up the athlete at whatever level is the basic, the foundation that where the athlete started the training, the basics. It determines a lot how she or he is going to come up. And it's easier for a higher level coach to handle those athletes who had the good basics. The foundation was laid good. But the other athletes that were brought up in not in the right exact way. So there is that challenge to clean up the wrong technique, maybe application of punches. So there are those challenges. Okay. And come from different levels of boxers.
I get you.
Yeah.
So you advocate for basics first, because if somebody does not take the basics seriously, or if we have coaches who are not going through the basics well, then it becomes a challenge to work with an athlete.
Very big challenge.
To a higher level.
Very big challenge. And that's why sometimes you find you can see the potential of a boxer, but the basics were not laid in the best way, and that will hinder the boxer to go very far.
Okay.
Yeah.
The foundation. I know you were trained as a coach in Germany, but before you went to Germany, you were coaching. How did you learn your coaching?
I would say I would say I'm very lucky, because when after I stopped active boxing, that was 1993. I had that passion of coaching. So I went for a national level coaching, and I passed well. And from there, I was given assignment to handle my Kenya Prisons boxing team. I am saying I'm lucky because I started my coaching observing from the very senior coaches, the founder members like Kina Mwarangu, Peter Mwarangu, and Chauza Jimbi. I was called there as a trainer. So I started learning, let's say, our African way. And after that, I went to Germany. That made a more different way of coaching, because there is, I would say, typically we have our African way. But let's say in Europe or these more advanced countries, they have little challenges than us.
Okay.
As far as coaching is concerned.
Okay.
But once you understand where you are coming from, the training that you have got, overseas training, then you can see how to input or to put your knowledge now to boxers, and you can just look at a boxer, a young boxer doing things, and then you can even know that he can make a good athlete.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you first learned coaching by the fact that you were a boxer before
Yes.
you got an opportunity
Yes.
to go for
Yes.
training.
Yes.
Are there any specific things that you learned in Germany that you think that you used to implemented in your coaching program to develop your athletes?
Yeah. What I learned, then how you can identify mistakes of an opponent, and so that even when you are training your boxer, you can know how to challenge the opponent in a very easy way. You can overcome the opponent in a very easy manner.
Okay.
Then identification of young talents.
Okay.
What to look in young talents, then you can know. And you can also understand the challenge a young boxer is going through, so that you can channel him or her now to the real light of boxing.
Okay. You've mentioned something very important in terms of preparing your athlete, being able to study the opponent and come up with a tactic or a plan on how to defeat an opponent. What are some of the areas you check in an opponent before you give your boxer a plan on how you're going to handle the fight or the bout?
Every boxer, like I said earlier, he or she has own peculiarities that are not in other boxers. So one, you have to know your boxer. You have to know how to motivate him. What are the best punches for him that can make him win? What are his challenges? And once you have studied that, then look at the opponent. See the kind. Maybe today you need to see a boxer boxing. Maybe in some competition, you can learn this is the technique, this how preparation before he apply the punches, his movement. It can tell you he moves this way, then he applies this. He ducks this, then he applies this. Then you can see the sequence.
Okay.
Then that way you can know how to tell your boxer, avoid this, do this.
Okay.
Do this, avoid this.
Okay.
Then that way it is so easy, it is not difficult.
Okay.
Sometimes even if you don't win,
yes,
your boxer is very happy for the level of the competition. Yeah.
Okay, I get you. So as a coach, it's important to know, study and understand the weaknesses of your boxer before.
Definitely.
Yes, and then study the opponent, and then now have the two scenarios.
Yeah, make a program
make
from
a
there.
program or,
Yeah.
or a plan
Yeah.
to do that. Do you keep statistics while training or while fighting to know what, the areas that your boxer has done well, or the areas that they need to improve on?
Yeah, of course. As a coach, you have to keep, because now, let's say for example, you are my boxer. I know you are weaker part. I know the punch that it is difficult for you to apply. I know when you go for 2 rounds, you have no gas. Then all these things I have to put together. Then that way I'll know what to improve and how to improve.
Okay.
That way I'll make sure now you are at the top level.
Okay.
Before even the competition, I know you can go this far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's important to keep statistics.
Very important. Very important.
That really helps you in terms of making decisions and coming up with a proper program.
Yes, and even sometimes you can make notes for the boxer.
Yes.
To make him understand more.
Yes.
So even when you come to do practical things, he already has the idea of what you want.
Okay.
And that makes now the coordination of the coach and the athlete becomes easier.
Okay. Yeah, so that's use of science in terms of preparing athletes and enhancing your coaching skills too.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the information, it will be difficult for
Very
you
difficult.
to advise your athlete.
Yeah, very difficult.
Mr. George, boxing is the second sport in Kenya after athletics. Boxing has given Kenya 7 medals since 1968 Olympics. I think the last medal that Kenya won was in 1988. That was in Seoul, Korea.
Seoul Olympic, yeah.
Seoul, Korea. That is like 35 years ago. Do you see any chance or potential of Kenya, getting an Olympic medal in the near future? Because it has taken so long, 35 years. What could be the problem, or what would you advise?
I would say, first and foremost, I looked at the way how boxing was getting sponsorship at that time. That time we used to have so many clubs, sponsorship from various parastatals, governments, and today I see the biggest challenge. Boxing is left with I would say forces. Kenya Police, Defense Forces, Kenya prisons. And now the others are just small clubs trying just to survive, because as far as sponsorship is concerned, it is not worth coming. The potential is there, a lot of it. I would say a lot of it. But the issue here is how to develop it. Nurture it, then develop it. Okay. The structures. Because I think we cannot leave everything for the government. Sometimes it's a challenge. And sometimes people who are in the government does not understand the real aspect of the sport. They can be there like administrators, but their advisors about sports, it's also another factor. And that's why sometimes you see it becomes more political than actual sporting activities. And when it comes to more political, then even the motivation of the athlete, coaches, the real athletic athletics people, morale goes down.
Okay.
And that way it is not easy to come up where we are.
Okay. So
but if there can be a way,
yes,
especially to deal with the youth, because from a real level, that is where we can come up with structures that will bring the youth as they grow up to a very high level standard of athletics or boxing. But for now, it is a big challenge because it is more political.
It's more political.
It is more political.
Yes.
Because I won't. I would say most of the guys are out there. Fine, they could have been in the sport, but their level can't make others go anywhere.
The understanding of the sport.
Their understanding of the sport, and you find that some people who are left just lotting. They have a lot, but they are never given chance, even to do just talking about sports, and that's bring everything down. Then we are left with the people who just talk sport, but they don't know what they are talking about. That way, it will definitely go down.
All right. Before the World Bank came up with this restructuring of the government, there was a lot of parastatals supporting various sports in the country, and then our level, the sports level, was very high. And I agree with you, since at the moment there are only a few forces supporting boxing, and not even only boxing, like many other sports.
Yeah.
Since that restructuring, government restructuring, the level of sports in Kenya has gone down, and as you say, that has really affected boxing. I remember before there used to be Kekoso Games, where we had like 15 or 20 parastatals competing. Yeah. And with that lack of support and a wide number of people to choose from, then competition is not there, and that affects sports. Again, you've mentioned politics. Of course, politics is also a factor, and then the knowledge of some of the people that get into positions to handle sports might not have that idea on how best to improve on a sport. But in particular, let's talk about boxing in particular. Do you think the change of rules around 2013, boxing scoring rules in 2013, has also affected Kenya and other African countries in terms of making it to that high level?
You see, there's one challenge, and this I learned from my overseas training in Germany. Made me learn a lot of things. And I have to say, because sometimes back, there were instructors sent by AIBA to train African coaches.
Yes.
To train African coaches. For myself, after that training in Germany, and looking at now what they came to train our coaches, then I came to understand. We are never going to beat them. We are never going to beat them if we are going to apply what these coaches are giving us. We are never going to beat them.
Yes. What is it?
We would just lie to ourselves. We are internationally trained, forgetting our African strength part of us. We forget ourselves. We take their style,
yes,
their approach. And you see, like now, I would say, if we go back to those medals, let's say somebody like Wagira, Kina Muchoki, all these guys, Kina Ore,
yes,
all these guys. You see, they did not get any international exposure. I mean, trainers for them, but they got medals. Yeah, you are getting me.
Yes.
And they managed to get medals from coaches, very local coaches, Akina Mwarangu at their Jimbis, and Madman Okodo Juku, all these guys. These guys propelled these guys to the level of Olympic level, and they got medals. What that can tell you. Then from the time we got these trainers from Europe, I would say Europe.
Yes.
We got no medal. It's a question of just knowing where are we. But some of these things you try to tell people, they will think you're mad. But when you ask them for results, now some will come to understand, oh, there's something here. So coaching is not just something to come from the bush and you call yourself a coach. It has to be deep in you. And when you are trained, then you need to understand and to know yourself. Whom am I before this training? Then how do I fit now? How do I fit now in this training? What's the positive part? What's the negative part? That way, you'll always be in a win-win level by yourself, even for your athletes.
Okay. So just don't follow blindly. Get to know what is your strength and what to pick from what you are being taught.
Yes.
But if you take everything as you are given, then you're not going anywhere.
You'll not go anywhere.
So your analysis, your ability to analyze and internalize what works and what does not work in your setup is very key.
Yes.
So George, just briefly, you've talked about this, what is ailing us and why we are not getting to that standard that we ought to be. Is there any specific thing that you think Kenya can do in terms of enhancing its coaching capability? Use the local talent and the science and whatever that can be borrowed from tested programs all over the world, just to make our boxers get to that level.
You see, once the funny thing I see with our coaches, like now I would say the current officials, they have been exposed to so many tournaments, international tournaments. But when I observe what they do after coming back, it seems they have never been out. Because I expect you go to Germany, see something, learn something, know how you can implement that thing now in your African way.
Yes.
You go to Hungary, you get something. You go to Asia, come up with something. When you bring those things together, then bring your African way, you're good to go. But when you just go and you seem even, and you see sometimes funny thing, like I observed sometime, the boxer is more exposed than the coach. Even the experience of the boxer is too high compared with the level of the coach.
How does that happen?
So it's funny, and it has happened so many times. And that also brings everything down.
Yes.
You also need to bring up an experienced coach with an experienced boxer. If they team up, they go up.
Sure.
But when you have an experienced boxer and a lower level coach, no, the lower level coach does not even understand even where he is, even when they go out of the country. So many things, he's just lost. So most of the time we fight boxers, it's as if he's left alone to handle things. And that is something that is affecting even our boxing so much. Because the federation ignored the senior coaches so much.
So we need to have a clear structure in terms of levels of coaching.
So that very clear structures of levels of coaching.
So coaches can be used at their level of experience.
Exactly, of experience.
Not any coach to handle any level.
Any level, no.
Or do we have enough coaches? I
would say we have so many coaches. We have so many coaches, and there is a lot of experience with these coaches. The problem is they are very much ignored. They are very much ignored.
So there's no structure to recognize them.
There is no structure to recognize them and give them some opportunity. And it makes the sport go down and forgotten.
So as we come to an end to this, any advice that you would give to upcoming coaches or even athletes to be able to perform at that level?
What I would like to tell my fellow coaches, for one, don't be too selfish. Share what you know. Share what you know. Okay, I understand. Every coach has his tactic of doing things. But all of us, if we have to bring the sport back to where it is, let's listen to one another, look for the common goal to bring it up, And that way I think we can go very far.
All right.
Because sometimes you see people will think maybe there is Muchoki. Muchoki was a world champion. So Muchoki can come and coach somebody. But that talent is not in Muchoki.
Coaching talent,
Muchoki,
yes.
coaching talent is not with him. And that happens so many times.
Yes.
And sometimes even so in so many countries, you'll find the best coaches. They never went that high level of boxing. But that respect and that recognition
Yes.
makes now the potential of that coach, regardless of the level he went,
Yes.
that giving that opportunity,
Yes.
he produce.
True, I agree with
He
you.
will produce.
Yeah. So it's not automatic that if you are a good athlete, you become a good coach
Never,
or
no.
even a good manager.
No,
you
no,
must
no.
have the talent, the passion, and
Yeah,
the drive.
that is inborn. It has to be
Yes, to
a
execute your
passion,
mind. All
not
right.
just picking something. And that's where sometimes many things go wrong.
Yeah.
Many things go wrong. And that's why I say it becomes political. Because if I know now my ability of coaching is better than you, now you look for a way to be on top of me
Eliminate you.
or eliminate me. That way,
out of
then
the
it is
scene.
finished.
Yes.
And the sport itself is finished.
It's finished. Yeah, so those are some of the challenges that we face, and I'm looking forward to a day when this kind of things will be, everything will be done on merit, so that we can get sports back to the level that it deserves to be. We are a powerhouse in Africa. We are the leading African countries with golds, in Olympic golds, that is generally. Even though in boxing, I see South Africa is doing very well. South Africa has won quite a number of medals in boxing. But Kenya is also trying, I believe, maybe number 3 after Nigeria.
Yeah, it's not so badly off.
Yes, so it's something that can happen.
Yes, it can.
Do it.
It can. We can do it.
All right. Otherwise, thank you so much, George, for availing yourself for this interview, and we hope we'll interact more and more in terms of trying to educate and develop our coaches and our athletes in general.
Yeah, I also thank you very much for giving the opportunity to share some of the things that are regarding our boxing and athlete in general. And I also hope that we continue with this kind of interview, not only me, there are so many, like I said, and that way we'll give the opportunity or the chance to even to know some of the things that are ignored.
Yes.
They can be brought back. Sometimes they are just ignored through ignorance, and they can be brought back, and our sport can come where the level it belongs.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.